Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mr. Sean Anakins, also known as Ultra Lazuli, coming at you live on twitch.tv/Ultra Lazuli. We're going to be playing some more Scum and Villainy. Hope you guys are excited. I know I am. I've been looking forward to it all week. Let's go ahead and pull it up here. So for those of us... let me try that again. For those of you just joining us, this is a hack of Blades in the Dark, which is a hack of Apocalypse World, of course. And it is a tabletop role-playing game that is highly narrative, less focused on rules, though there are some rules, and is more focused on the story and what's going on at hand, more focused on the role. Just some simple d6 rolls. 6 is a success, 4 to 5 is a partial, and 1 to 3 is a failure. We're looking for the high 6s there. So without too much ado here, let's go ahead and meet these people who are going to be rolling our 6s here. Aaron, why don't you go ahead and just give a quick intro.
I hope that they're going to be 6s. Hi, I'm Aaron or Kurtwa, and I play Audra Needles Clarity, the Stitch.
Awesome, thank you. And Thunder, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Alright, hey, what's going on? I'm Thunder, my 6 is male, and I play Bon Riot Balgon. Sorry, I couldn't think of a joke, that was the only one that came to mind. Anyways.
That's pretty bad. Moving on. Gronson, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, my name is Matt Titan Kronos, or Cronson. I'll be playing Karn Cronson, the Gizmo. He's kind of a midget who has a cool spacesuit and does cool stuff sometimes. And I'm with Aaron on the whole, maybe they're gonna be 6s.
Well, we'll definitely see here. You guys could definitely use some fortune coming your way here. So, for those of us just coming in, who wants to give a quick recap on what happened last time?
Everything blew up.
There was so much fire.
Excellent,
We
excellent.
rolled almost no 6s.
That's
the most important thing.
That's probably the most accurate of the 3 that I've heard so far, yeah. Okay. So, let me go ahead and just tell everybody what's going on for the audience's sake here. In Scum and Villainy, you typically run a small group of pirates or smugglers, criminals of some sort in the Procyon sector, or elsewhere, of course. You can do this mission outside of the Procyon sector if you would like, no biggie. Just have to create planets. But we're going to be running in the Procyon sector for now. And last time, these 3 were aboard a Stellar Flame vessel. That's the Church of the Stellar Flame. So if we go over to factions here, you guys will see the Church of the Stellar Flame right here. They're a tier 4 faction. Excuse me. And they typically go after precursor artifacts, Urbots, anything excuse me, anything strange or out of place, anything that doesn't really fit in with not only their narrative, but doesn't really fit in with what people think the majority of the universe is comprised of here. And they're aboard this vessel to try and find a human-looking Urbot named Tushur, to try and extract Tushur, get out safely, and make their way over to the Maelstrom, which is where the pirates in the sector kind of hang out. That's one of their big bases in the sector. Aside from that, a lot of death is incurred. And potentially Bon, Riot Balgon, is not doing too well. But we'll see what happens with that. Last time he got shot up quite a bit.
Yeah. I am currently traumatized out, meaning that I'm in the audience's perspective this time, at least until the mission's over.
Yeah, most likely here. Um, and then Gizmo has been kind of moving about, crawling through the vents, trying to find Tishur. Eventually found her and extracted her from her prison, and is leading her back over to their ship. Needles, on the other hand, is just trying to survive and is trying to go through and tell the soldiers aboard the vessel that she's a doctor and she is called to this sector by the alarm. They seem to believe her, but are asking her to take care of the soldiers before she leaves, or before she at least moves on. So,
To be fair, I was also kind of trying to create a distraction to get the soldiers out of the hallway.
fair enough. Alright, so why don't we go ahead and pick up here. Give me 1 second. Why don't we go ahead and pick up with you, Needles. What exactly are you doing? You have the soldiers who are just down in the room with you, and they head towards the south and towards the west here to try and get into the lab, the medical lab, just down the way there. What are you doing?
I'm, I guess, just like actually doing the job of doctoring anyone that they bring to me.
Okay. Well, then in that case, why don't you go ahead and give me a doctor roll? We'll say that this is... we'll say that this is risky. A lot of these guys have pretty serious injuries inflicted by riot. And we'll say that the position is risky. We'll say that the effect is standard.
Wow,
There you go.
there's, I hope that's not the only 6 we get this game, because that was a pretty low stakes roll.
Mm. All right. Cool.
But
So
yeah, it's 6.
yeah, there you go. Just almost like a foretelling. You grabbed a 6 out of thin air there. Didn't even need your second skill point. All right, yeah, you set to work. There's plenty of materials here and stuff. Probably some stuff you could take and use yourself, but a lot of it is hardwired into the wall or attached in some way to this place. But there are enough beds that you can kind of take care of people. The people who are still alive, most of them are able to walk and do things on their own. They're just asking for someone to kiss their boo-boos kind of thing. However, the ones who aren't, you're able to take care of them without too much of an issue. While that is happening, Gizmo, I believe you had made a failed attune roll.
I made a boo-boo.
Yeah, you made a real big boo-boo. And you were trying to attune with the ship, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Alright. And this was so that you could try and create some sort of distraction so that you could get through to your ship without too much issue?
No, I was going to attempt to sync with the security feed so I could get through more quietly. Avoid people.
Ah, okay. Alright. I think what happens in that case is that
My head explodes.
Let me actually take a look at a couple of these things here. Because there are lists of different consequences and that sort of thing. So I figure... Let's see... Okay. And that was risky and standard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's true. Because you got a 6 on a risky roll, you guys do get a gambit.
Mm.
So you'll be able to use that for future rolls. Okay. I think what happens is I'm going to start a new clock here. And this is going to be a 6-section clock. And this clock is going to be called Portal Opening. And why is that in black? That should not be in black. That should be in white. There we go. Portal. White. Portal Opening. There we go. Just grab that over there. Because I think what happens is that when you are trying to attune to the ship, trying to use your panel and your methods and such as a ghost, in the ways that you were taught, you unerringly contact something else.
Oh god.
And why doesn't someone give me a name here? Something completely alien.
Cthulhu. No, it's bad.
Nah, he's around, but in different names.
Um. Hmm.
Is this like threatening or like just weird, or is it like just I don't know.
It's just something totally weird and alien.
The only name that I can think of right now is George.
That doesn't seem very alien.
No, but it's the only name that's in my head. I've
just
forgotten all of your names as well. It's
Roll-
like
roll.
everything is George.
Can I keep him, George? Can I? I will love him and hug him and squeeze him and call him George.
It's a,
There we go.
it's a little, it's a little terrifying how that happens. What were you saying, Riot?
Hadzukmo. Just a collection of letters. I don't know.
Okay. Can you type that in Roll20 for me?
I did. Not in Roll20, but in the thing. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. That's along the lines of what I was finding.
All right. Yeah, you end up.
I don't like George.
George is fine. Nothing wrong with George, but it's not very alien. Okay, yeah, you end up attuning, but excuse me, something is strange about this bot. It's making you feel uneasy. And with that uneasiness comes comes kind of like this feeling that the veil between this world and the next, that the barrier between dimensions is weakening. And you get the feeling that something has called out to you. And in fact, it does. And the feeling that you get is of a voice echoing to you from beyond time and space, beyond the continuum as you normally know it. And you hear this voice, and you don't know what language it's using. You don't know what it's saying, what it's speaking to you in this foreign tongue, if it even has a tongue. But you get the impression that it's saying, "I'll be there shortly." And every fiber of your being resonates with this sentence, "I'll be there shortly." Now, as for the clock, I'm going to say that every one of your actions, Gizmo, unless you are stopping in place and focusing intently on trying to prevent it from happening, every one of your actions, every time I come to you for an action, I'm going to mark another tick on that clock, whether it's a success or a failure, unless you choose to just stay in place, not do anything, and focus intently on trying to bar his passage into this world.
Option 2, I tear the hole bigger.
You could. You're not getting a great impression from this guy, though.
Big enough ship. If we get away, we can just trash the ship.
Alright.
Nah.
Well, I mean, you're able to do whatever you want to do. If you want to tear the hole open, and I'm gonna call him. We're gonna call him Hadroxmar. That sounds a little bit easier to pronounce.
I was just gonna call him Mo.
Well, maybe he likes it, maybe he doesn't. You don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah, Cthulhu with the face of Mo Howard. So, yeah, that might happen. I think you've probably been the most physical comedy on here right now, Riot. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Moving on, however, that happens.
You know what? Karn's reckless. Karn's gonna tear open that hole.
So you're just gonna, instead of trying to prevent it from happening, you're going to stay in place and just connect with him and try to open the veil between the worlds?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
I apologize if this ends the campaign.
Alright. Why don't you go ahead and give me another attune. Either way, I'm going to fill in one of these.
Okay.
And I'll give you a bonus die for this, because he wants this to happen.
Risky? Controlled? Desperate?
This is going to be... this is going to be risky, because reality itself doesn't want you to do this, but he does. Hadroxmar does.
And the effect?
The effect is going to be standard for now, because the hole's not quite big enough for him yet. It's getting there.
Alright.
So if you do open it up successfully, then I will mark another 2 marks on the clock here.
Any, Okay. Bum, bum. I am just the worst.
Wow. Wow. Even trying to fuck things over and you still fail.
I wasn't trying to. I was being reckless.
Alright. Okay. I think... I think what happens is you try to kind of tune into the voice. You try to align your essence and energy with Hadrox Mar, and you're trying to just kind of tune everything that you are into him, and let just kind of get a good look at him, see what he's all about. You know, maybe he has a way out for you here, or maybe he at least could provide a distraction of some sort for these zealots. I'm going to say that, unfortunately, you aren't really able to connect with him any faster than he's trying to connect with you. The primary reason for this being Tushur sees what's happening, and you see a look of slightly horrified recognition on her face. And she actually grabs you around the neck and starts lifting you up off the ground, bringing you right back to reality as you start to choke and suffocate. And then she looks at you and she says, I do not think that this is a advisable course of action. And then she throws you back into the bulkhead. You impact it with a smack, and then quickly slide down back to the floor. And she kind of turns her head at you, and she says, I have heard the call of Hadrox Mar. It is not a pleasant call. Nothing but destruction will follow in their wake. She turns her head back the other way. I want you to go ahead and take a, we'll say a level 1 harm.
Okay. I'm super close to just being dead.
Well, you still got another level 2 harm available, and you still have a level 3. At level 3 is when things start to get real bad, but I would say that you're not quite dead yet. At that point, you're just not really able to do a whole lot. Like, at that point, you'd be crawling to your ship, or Tushur would be carrying you. One or the other. Alright. But that happens. Riot, what do you dream of when you're asleep?
Considering my new trauma, probably just let's see. Yeah, I think I'm punching the head of House Malclaith in the face over and over again until his face becomes a crater, and then I continue punching it.
So just the image of a boot stomping on a human face forever.
Yep.
All right, I like it.
I like mine.
It may occasionally change as the boot lifts to something else, maybe just a common hegemonic soldier, maybe just some guy who flipped him off at a bar one time, just getting out all the anger, stomping on people's faces. That sounds fun.
Right on, right on. Alright. Well then, in that case, that is excellente. Okay. Needles, you are just patching people up here. You notice that most of these guys are 51st Legion guys. However, I'd like you to give me, and this is probably one of the only times I'm going to ask for a roll, but you start seeing, same soldier, same soldier, same soldier, Obviously, they're different people, but they're wearing the same outfit. You know, Stellar Flame guys here and there, but mostly 51st Legion guys. However, you think you see one soldier as you're kind of moving through and stitching people up. You see one soldier who is a little bit different than the rest. He's dressed in different clothes. Something that might be familiar. I'd like you to give me a study roll, if you don't mind.
Sure.
That'll be controlled, and the effect will be limited. Okay. Um, you see that there is someone who is in a prison uniform, but you're not sure exactly. Uh, you're not sure exactly what uniform that is. Seems vaguely familiar, but it's been a while. You didn't really pay attention to a lot of those guys when you were in prison, so doesn't really have a whole lot of meaning for you. But it's a little strange for someone like that to be hanging out here.
Yeah. Hmm.
Aside from that, yeah, you get these guys fixed up. Um, what are you doing?
I'd probably flag down one of the guys who's been bringing the injured in and say, "Is that everyone?"
He says, "Yes, I believe that is about everyone here. I don't see anyone else who's been injured and is still alive. Most of them were torn apart by that crazy mutant. I don't even know what they were here for."
What's the status on the mutant?
"He's down the hall. I believe he's alive, but perhaps not for very long."
Well,
"Why?"
I'm a guild doctor, and I'm required to treat anyone who needs aid. So I'm going to have to patch him up before you send him to the brig.
He says, "He just killed a bunch of our soldiers and you want to revive him? Why?"
I'm under oath to.
Okay. That sounds like maybe a command, maybe a sway. Let me see here. I think... Because effectively, you're commanding these guys is what it sounds like. Like you're commanding them to bring him to you so that you can heal him. Command obedience with your force of personality. Intimidate or threaten, lead an action with contractors or passengers. Versus sway. Sway someone with charm, logic, deception, disguise, or bluffing. Change attitudes or
And
behavior
bluffing.
with manipulation or seduction. I guess you are kind of bluffing.
Because I'm not a guild doctor.
Right.
This
Okay.
whole thing is a lie. I don't know if guild doctors are required to treat everyone, but I'm not a guild doctor regardless.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give me a sway then? I'm going to say that this is risky. We'll say with a standard effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
hold on. Did you already roll? No, you didn't. Okay, good.
No, I didn't.
I'm going to say that this is controlled because of your medic garb.
Okay.
But it is still a standard effect. Did you want to use a gambit, or ask for a devil's bargain, or anything else like that? I don't think Gizmo's in quite a position to help you. Obviously, Riot's not.
Yeah, I was thinking about spending the gambit, but We might need it later. Do you have a devil's bargain for me?
I would say that you probably have some sort of fake or maybe expired guild card, and that you could show that to the guard that you're talking to, and he'd probably believe it for a little bit, but he would probably end up checking it at some point, perhaps before you leave, perhaps even before you leave this room. And if he finds out, that you're not a guild doctor, there's probably going to be some serious retribution coming your way. However, I would give you another die for that.
Okay, fuck it. Why not?
Okay. Yeah, you pop out your guild ID.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Wow.
No! Oh god. Why?
Wow.
No.
Wow. Wow.
I fell off my chair. I was so shocked.
Well
I
done.
thought things were gonna turn around for us. How did I fuck this up so bad?
Wow. Well done. Well done. Okay.
Sorry, Riot. I guess I'm not gonna save you. Or myself, potentially.
I put my thoughts in spam. That's fine.
Okay.
Wow.
So I think what happens is he takes your card, looks you up and down. He notices that your card is expired. And he says, "You ain't no guild doctor anymore. This card's expired."
Oh, is it? I must have my, I must have the wrong one on me. I've got my more recent one in my other pants.
Yeah, I think what happens is he starts flipping it into a slot on his arm. Little thing pops up off his armor, and he puts it in, and it eats it pretty voraciously, scanning and figuring out what's going on. And almost immediately, it pops you up as a not only as a fake doctor, like not a doctor with the guild. What's the name of the Doctors Guild that you are supposedly a part of?
The Neutral Alliance of Medical Practitioners.
Okay. The Neutral Alliance of Medical Practitioners. Whoops, forgot an S. Okay. The NAMP, the NAMP. Yep. I'm going to say that they probably would call you a Nampy. And guy looks at his wrist where this little computer interface is, and it pops up that you're definitely not an amp. And not only that, it pops up that you are a wanted criminal, wanted for assault, breaking out of an Isotropa max secure prison, and a bunch of other stuff. And what's interesting is that as the computer is reading off all of these charges, all of the soldiers that you just healed, the ones who are awake enough to do so, start slowly drawing their weapons and pointing them at you. And the guard guy that you saw earlier, he rushes forward and says, "That's right. That's right. I knew you. You're that bitch from the fucking prison, from Isotropa. You're not going anywhere."
But I do think I have to go now. I hear my superior calling, so you're welcome for all of the healing that I just did.
That sounds like a very difficult scramble from a desperate position.
It sure does. It sure does, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, that's going to be a desperate position. I'm going to say, due to the consequences here, you're going to have limited effect.
Okay. Oh,
However, either way,
it is a 6.
holy shit. Alright, well, that's still an XP for the desperate roll.
Mm-hmm.
However, you are at the very least going to take a harm, as the guy who was looking at the computer and reading your card was already drawing his weapon on you and fires a couple rounds grazing into your skin. I'd like you to go ahead and take a level 1 harm. This is in retribution for the Devil's Gambit.
Okay.
And then we'll get into the 6 here. Because somehow you do actually get out of this. Or at least far enough away that a horde of blaster fire doesn't impact with your body.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Excuse me. Big taco dinner is pretty delicious. Yeah, guy gets off a couple of blaster shots. One kind of like on both arms. However, you kind of like duck out of the way, and before everyone has their blaster fire trained on you, you kind of just duck and roll out of the room, and you kind of get on the other side of the wall. Most of the blaster fire trying to follow you, but some of it reflecting off of the walls and reflective surfaces of the lab that you were just in. You were on the other side of the wall here. If I were to draw it real quick. Let's draw a square. That'll be the lab, and then there's a hallway that goes this way, like this, and there's a door here, and then you are on the other side of that door like that.
Okay.
So you do see a couple of people dragging the Riot along. They're at the end of the hall towards this direction here,
Mm-hmm.
and they appear to be going this way. However, they do see you, as a horde of blaster fire is pretty loud. And you still got all of these guys in this room to deal with. So, what are you going to do? Actually,
Um,
hold on. Since we've been kind of focusing on you a little bit, let's go back over to Gizmo and find out kind of what's going on with him, because he still has to deal with Hadrox Mar and Tishur and whatever else might happen here. So we'll get back to him for just a moment. What are you doing, buddy? You're probably muted.
I am muted. So I'm being strangled.
No, you were thrown against the bulkhead by Tishur, and you fell down to the ground. You're on your butt right
Okay.
now.
All right. Well, I guess I should probably not attempt to contact him again. So I'm gonna stand up and like rub my shoulder and just kind of look at her with a really face. Well, really is implied. Before uh shaking my head and be like, well, what was that about?
You're asking Tishur?
Yep.
Yeah, she just kind of like rotates her head in a sideways fashion towards you and says, just making sure that my rescuer is able to take proper care of me and isn't trying to destroy known sector.
Huh. Well, I guess we need to get to the ship then. And he's going to pick himself up, dust himself off, and start heading towards the ship.
Okay. Yeah, Tishur follows behind you. Her joints kind of quietly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're just running for the ship as quickly as you can.
More or less.
Okay. That sounds like maybe a scramble. Let's see here. Yeah, I could see a scramble being used here for that. I would say position is risky because soldiers were looking towards your direction. Then they heard a horde of blaster fire go off a bit of a ways away. So they're not really too interested in you right now. In fact, I'll say that it is controlled at this point. So I don't think anyone's looking your way right now.
Mm-hmm.
The effect is going to be standard.
Alright.
Now, did you want to try and take a devil's bargain, spend the gambit?
Do we have a gambit right now?
I think we still have a gambit left.
I have no points in scramble, so I'd be taking the lower.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you would want to ask your teammates, of course, but you could try and take the gambit. I mean, you do have the primary target objective, so.
yeah, go ahead, take the gambit.
You
Alright.
can, of course, take a devil's bargain in addition to that in order to gain another die.
Sure, why not? I have the primary objective. I need to get to the ship.
Okay. I think it's pretty obvious what I'm going to say here.
More ticks on the clock.
More ticks on the clock. Obviously, this roll is going to be 1 tick on the clock automatically. However, you can put another 2 ticks on the clock And what happens is that uh, Hadrox Mar wants there to be chaos, wants there to be uncertainty and confusion, uh, because it makes it easier for him to bypass the veil between the different worlds, between the different dimensions. I
Sounds
think,
like a fun guy.
yeah, he's a blast parties. You should see this juggling act. And I think he, his breath passes through the veil as the portal opens. And I think his breath is going to help speed you along, almost like the wind pushing you down a hill or something.
I don't know. He seems kind of chill. I don't know why Sure is getting so worked up. Yeah, I'll take the devil's bargain.
Okay. So that would be 2 bonus die.
Didn't totally fail.
Okay. So let me go ahead and fill these in. First of all. So that is a partial success. And that's from a controlled position. So you pretty much get there, yeah. It's not that far of a distance. You don't have anyone really to go through. Okay. Let me finish filling these in, and then I'll take a look at what kind of consequences happen for a partial with a controlled. I'm terrible at drawing. But there we go. I think at this point, as you kind of look behind you, you start to see kind of like white sparks echoing through dimensions and trying to tear open something behind you, like right behind your head. You just see this weird kind of like 90s CGI kind of thing. It looks like a hand kind of trying to pass through, and there's a bunch of like white sparks. It's like you see it pretty clearly because of what you are, but what you also see as like Riot or what Needles and Riot would see is like white sparks just kind of echoing through the air and just like but you feel a strong breeze of wind guiding your sails, as it were. Okay. Okay. I think because of that sound and the light that it's producing, it does attract the attention of a couple of guys. Looks like a couple of guys who were carrying some weird lizard. Wait, that's Riot behind.
Wait, that's right. I'm sorry.
And you see these guys coming after you. None of their blaster fire really hits you or too sure as you're kind of blazing through this corridor. And you end up outside of the door that led into the hangar. There's still nobody else in here. Turrets seem to have been doing their job while you guys were gone. But you know that those 2 guys are definitely coming after you. And they definitely saw to sure. So that's happening.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Alright, now, Audra, those 2 guys seem to have seen someone else, and just kind of like out of the corner of your vision, you think you saw Gizmo walking out with some weird skin-colored thing with a bowl cut. And there was also some weird white flashing behind him, almost like a light, but it wasn't like some sort of light fixture from his suit. It wasn't even from Tushur. You're not entirely sure what that was, but the two guys who were in this hallway are no longer there. However, you definitely hear the other guys who were in the laboratory trying to come out and do something about you. You see Riot laying there in the corridor. He is in the path of you getting out to the hangar. What would you like to do?
Would it be possible that my med kit would have some kind of, since we are in space,
Mhm.
that my med kit would have some kind of collapsible hover stretcher that I could try and roll Riot onto?
Um,
Because it's a cool space med kit.
right, but it is just a med kit rather than a fine med kit.
It's true.
Let me take a look here. See something.
But it would be like real cool if it did have that. I'm just saying it would look like fully sick made.
Alright. I think... Yeah, I don't think that normally has it, but maybe you were able to grab one. Why don't you give me a fortune roll with
Okay.
2 die? So you might have been able to grab something like that from the lab. Keep in mind that if it is, if you do have it, then it would be...
Oh,
Jesus.
so I didn't grab it. I didn't grab one of those from the lab.
Yeah, I don't think you did. In fact, I think... Instead...
Oh God.
Yeah, I think instead, you ended up leaving your med kit there.
Okay.
Because you had, like, everything splayed out. You were right in the process of working. You know, you had just finished up the last guy, and you're about to put everything away and ask about, you know, Riot. And you just kind of jumped out of the room. And I think you left your med kit behind.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Keep in mind that does reduce you down to a 3 load.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that happens. So no, you don't have one of those. So what are you doing?
Actually just got a call that freaked me out, so I need to take this. So can we
Okay.
go back?
Yeah, we can just switch over to Gizmo for a second here. I mean, you might be damning us all as the portal to Hadrox Maw opens, but
I'm sorry.
we'll see what happens. Have fun. Okay, Gizmo, what are you doing, buddy? You just entered into the hangar. You got Tushur in tow. The ship's still there. Looks like it's in one piece. You got these turrets. What are you doing? You might be muted.
Sorry, I mute so that I don't make noise during other people's turns.
I appreciate it.
Alright, so Karn more than likely is going to get Tashur on that ship. And then probably attempt to close the portal because according to Tashur, it's a really, really bad idea.
Okay, so you're going to try and just run up to the ship and then spend some time concentrating to block off the veil between you and Hedroxmar?
I don't know. I mean, he's kind
It's up to you.
of.
I'm just the
Don't I?
adjudicator.
Yeah. Do I have a? Don't I have people following me at this point?
You had a
Both
couple of
blasters.
you had a couple of people who were coming down the hall after you. Yes.
Are the blasters still on?
The turrets, you mean?
Yeah.
They appear to be.
All right. Well, then I will attempt to close this portal.
Okay. So are you going to the ship? Are you just standing there for a sec?
I will get to the bottom of the gangplank and attempt to stop it.
Okay. All right. In that case, yeah, you run over there. These turrets catch wind of something coming down the hall as soon as the door opens, and they turn and fire, giving you some cover. You get to the bottom of the loading bay, and why don't you go ahead and give me an attune? Because of the amount of ticks that have already kind of set into motion here, I'm going to say that this is a desperate roll. Effect is going to be standard. Let me get your character sheet up here so that I'm kind of taking a look at the right person. There we go.
Standard.
So I think the gambit was used. The last 6 was a desperate. Yeah, I don't think you guys used it. I think that was for the scramble that you made. Let me think. I have a bit of a devil's bargain for you here.
Okay.
Things are getting kind of weird. So
Things are getting very weird.
I think what's going to happen here is that you're at the bottom of the loading bay. You're trying to focus. Tashur kind of sees what you're doing and notices that the sparks are getting a little bit less stable as you're trying to focus. She offers to help you, to help stabilize the rift between worlds and make sure that he doesn't cross over into this world, or at least for what she can do. However, she says that she would need to interface with your suit and with your body.
Sure.
You're not entirely sure what this means or what this would do to you or your suit, but as she kind of opens up her hands, you see hundreds of tiny little tentacles, probably like garden snake width, just kind of slither out from inside her hand, much like Scorpion in the Mortal Kombat movie. And they're just kind of like
lovely.
dancing in front of you.
Sure. If he's that big of a threat, I guess I have no other choice.
Okay. These tentacles instantly, like anime speed, fucking just rush out and impact and pierce through your suit and also through your skin. Why don't you go ahead and roll, and then we'll detail what happens. I'll give you an extra die for that. Okay, a 4. All right. I would say that. Okay, that makes sense. I want you to go ahead and take a level 2 harm since your level 1s are full up. And this is going to be from the multitude of little robo-tentacles that are piercing your body, your phasic body, and your suit as well. They don't let out enough room for like the atmosphere or anything in here, or for like your essence to phase out of the suit or anything. But it's strange how they penetrate into your phasic body as a ghost, more so than oh, you haven't been using your ability. You have your ability Deep Spacer. When you attune +1 effect, as you can tune into air subspace transmissions and stuff.
When you take a downtime opportunity.
That would be for the first one. The second one is anytime.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that would definitely help you out in a lot of situations.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and apply that to this roll for now, which means this one and this one get knocked off rather than just one, as it is a great effect rather than a standard. Okay.
Wait, what gets knocked off?
2 ticks instead of just one get knocked off of the portal opening clock.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So after that happens, all right. Yeah, these tentacles just kind of like rip into you. There's a bit of blood. Like, do you bleed, or is it like just essence, like glowing essence or something that comes off of you, or is it something different?
Like neon purple ooze.
Okay. So sort of like just kind of like neon purple ectoplasm type shit?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, a little bit of ooze, almost like tree sap kind of oozes out of you. And a bit of it falls into your suit, which is automatically kind of reclaimed and probably reinserted into you via injection, that sort of thing. But these things, as soon as they enter into you, your mind travels to something different. It's as if you're seeing the whole of the Procyon sector, or Procyon sector, my bad, as well as even larger, the whole galaxy at large. And you're seeing all the different planets and stars and everything, and then it zooms out again, and you're seeing dots of galaxies all around you, as if you could see for an infinite distance into the entire universe. And then it zooms out again somehow, and you just see whiteness as all of the galaxies form stars and then form a collective of light that just blinds your vision. And you hear Tishur's voice, but it's not quite as robot-y as it was before. And she says, "The purity of this dimension must remain intact, unblemished. To summon Hadroxmar is to put a blemish upon this world, this galaxy, this universe. I cannot allow it. I will help you. But this entire time, back in reality, in our reality, perhaps, then you're just standing there. And I think what happens is that the white sparks that are on your back definitely start to calm down, and they're much fewer in number until they just kind of vanish out, and there's just a little, almost like a white star just trying to follow you and ripple around you. Um, but it's definitely having an effect on reducing the size of the portal.
Nice.
However, you're pretty much just standing there, and you don't really realize that you're standing there because to you it looks like everything's just a pure white color, and you're just speaking with this person who sounds like too sure, but isn't too sure, or maybe it is.
Would I really be speaking though, or would this just be kind of happening?
It's kind of happening. I mean, you can definitely say stuff. Um, Real quick though, Riot, what are you dreaming about?
You should definitely use my idea.
Maybe. I feel like the dream has moved on from being too violent, and I think Bon is just kind of sitting on a hill in a meadow on a strange, Earth-like but not quite planet. The grass is a slightly more brighter color. The trees have a bit more reddish bark. He seems at home, almost. And as he is sort of almost meditating on this hillside, the sky above, which is a rather bright blue sky, turns into night, and you see. It appears as though everything else, the hills, the horizon, falls away, and it is Bon on a floating island with this small hill and a tree next to him, floating in the void of space. And that's it.
Interesting. All right. So, yeah, Karn, we're still having a little bit of call troubles with Audrey Needle's Clarity here. So, moving back over to Karn for now, you're having this image in your head. Are you going to try and listen to it and try to finish sealing off the portal? Or are you going to try and return back to reality? What are you doing?
So reaching out, Karn is just going to attempt to close the rift again, feeling a deep need at this point to keep the veil sealed.
Okay. All right. This is going to be risky, and it is going to be great effect because of your ability.
Alright, risky. Great effect.
I don't think I have a devil's bargain for you. I don't think I can think of one.
Neither do I. I couldn't think of one if I tried right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and we don't have a gambit, so I'm doomed. Holy butts.
Well, all right. Yeah, you. Okay, I think what happens is you see all this white around you, and then You see to your left, uh, you see this face kind of form out of the white. So little bits of shading and shadow helping to define this face, and it looks similar to Tashur's face, but much more human, much less mechanical. Um, and she says, "Yes, seal it off. Make sure that we never have to see Hadroxmar or any others from that realm in our realm. We must keep it pristine." And then to your right, you feel this looming, overwhelming almost presence, and the white light little star behind your neck that people would have seen normally has now inverted and turned completely black in this state that you're in. And you see this face right above it that looks like a human skull. It's completely black, and it is trying to. It's almost like it is. It's almost like one of those old like '90s Halloween posters where it looks like it's coming out of the wall or some shit.
Yeah.
Um, and the face is just trying to push forth, and then you just raise up your hand. Tell me what you do as you just kind of push him out of existence of this realm.
Karn kind of stops for a minute and just stares. I'm assuming he has a choice right now.
I mean, you do. I believe the choice that you made was to try and block him off, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Alright.
He's going.
I'm glad that somebody's thinking about the words and then spitting them forth.
It's our heart.
English, my dude.
So you make me laugh.
English is like a dick. It's real fucking hard.
Sorry. We're not accepting solicitors at this time. Try again some other lifetime. And he's just gonna like close his hand, and the window that had opened is just gonna slam shut, if that's what's going on.
Sure, yeah. We see kind of like a... is it like an old-timey... like 1920s type house shutter that just shuts down on them, or is it like actual shutters that you like close inward, or is it like an iris, or what do we see?
So it's kind of like a maelstrom, eye of the storm for a hurricane, kind of shutting as it like spins around him and just collapses there,
Cool.
leaving nothing but this blank space, a unblemished veil.
Very cool. All right, yeah. We see these swirling winds kind of pick up, static electricity sparking through them, and the little light of darkness gets caught up right in the middle and is eventually quashed by these miniaturized hurricane force winds and clouds, and they just smash in and pop out of existence, and we no longer see the face. And Tushur, as you kind of look back at her, closes her eyes and nods to you and fades into the white as your vision darkens as you zoom in rapidly, first to the multiverse, then to this universe, and then to the galaxy, and then to the system, and then to the planet. and then to the ship that you guys are on, and then to you. And Tushar is already starting to retract some of the tentacles that were in your body. However, this creates a new problem.
Yes.
And because you got a 6, I'll introduce the problem and give you a chance to kind of deal with it before any consequences are made. Consequence is that this thing poked some tiny little holes in your body. And I imagine there's some sort of atmosphere that you have to maintain in there, or something that helps to keep your existence controlled in this reality. And rather than like falling into subspace or something. So, let me ask you, what are you going to do before these things fully pop out of you?
Kron is going to activate his drone, his small drone, and have it begin filling in the holes with a small nanite compound that seals the wounds.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give me, that sounds like a rig.
I'm assuming the position is risky?
Position is going to be risky. I think it's going to be risky. Effect is going to be standard.
Cool.
By the way, you would have gotten a gambit from your last attune roll.
How close are we to getting out of this?
Out of the ship and like on with the whole mission.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't see Audra when you passed by. She saw you, but you didn't see her because you were kind of rushing towards the hangar. So you don't know where she is. Last time you saw her, she was in the room that you passed through, the big circular room, where you threatened that guy. But she wasn't there when you passed through. You're not entirely sure where she is. You saw that Riot was on the ground towards the laboratory, but didn't seem to want to move, and some soldiers were carrying him. Those soldiers are now fighting off the turrets. That's about the state of things.
Okay. I guess I'll use it now. No. I'll wait.
Okay.
At least I got a 6 on the last thing.
Okay. So it is a partial success. I'm going to take a look at something here. Okay. So, let me think here. Okay. I think what happens is that someone gains control back of the turrets that were in the hangar. And while you're trying to work on yourself and make sure that your suit is all kind of like patched up and everything, you realize that there was the sound of turrets changing targeting parameters. Maybe it makes the beep like something like that. And you hear this. And you also hear the people who were fighting them. Sounds like there's a couple more have joined the fray there. It sounds as though they have realized what's going on, and that they're trying to move. They're probably going to try and move in to surround the ship.
Oh, fine. I'm gonna fire up the ship's weapons.
Okay, so uh, in that case, uh, yeah, I can't really do that. I would say move the hentai damage that we have here from the from Tishur's tentacles down to level 1. However, you already have your level 1s full, so um, because it was a partial success, I'm going to say we're going to keep those on there for right now. Um, that's still like a wound on your suit, but we got a few others. You're not completely dead yet. You're going to try and turn on the ship and get it started up and going, the shuttle.
Uh, y- no, I'm just turning on the weapons.
Oh. The shuttle, unfortunately, doesn't have any weapons.
Crap.
Yeah. It's meant to be as a transport vessel from the liberated, the Fire Drake ship down to like a planet surface or another ship of equal size or something.
Right. Okay, so I guess I'm going to attempt to take back control of the turrets.
Okay. That sounds like a hack. Um, because of the distance. Oh, by the way, actually, we can go ahead and get rid of this whole thing here. There we go. By the way, um, no, not by the way. This is the primary thing I was talking about. Anyways, um, sorry, my mind's in a bajillion different places right now. Okay. Because of the distance that you have to the control terminal, as well as someone else being there, either there or somewhere else remote on the ship, trying to control these again. Let me see here. I think it's going to be desperate, and I believe. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think your hacking rig is still there, um, but maybe it has like a shield around it or something, and it's not really looking to get fucked with by anyone. So it's still kind of doing its job, but uh, I think it is competing with someone who's probably on the other side of that console and is like just battling it until it gives up or runs out of power. And yeah, I think that's going to be a desperate roll. I think your effect is going to be standard.
Desperate rule standard.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
You do have a gambit if you want to spend it.
I think this is the time to spend it.
Okay. So that'll give you 1 die. I think... Yeah, I think I have a devil's bargain for you here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you allow your hacking rig to focus on hacking and doing its job rather than trying to protect itself, for you to like retrieve it later or something, um, if you let that happen, it'll drop its shield and it'll be able to give you enough of a burst to get another die. However, they would have plenty of opportunity to destroy it or remove it, whatever they want to do with it then. And you would lose that particular item.
My fine hacking rig.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, I think I'm losing it anyway
Okay.
because it's still on the ship, and I'm basically going to take over the turrets, clear out my way, grab Bon, and book it back to the ship.
Wow, I love how Needles just doesn't even come into that equation.
I saw Bon, not Needles.
This is true. Okay, so you want to go ahead and take that then?
Yep.
All right, so that'll be 2 bonus die, so a total of 4 4 dice altogether. Good luck.
Total of 4.
So it'll be 4 dice altogether. It'll be 2 bonus.
Because I have 2 from Hack, 1 from Gambit. Oh, you're saying okay? My bad.
It would be just 1 from the
The devil.
2
yeah,
from
one
Hack,
from the
1 from the Gambit, 1 from the Devil's Bargain.
All right. I thought when you said the 2 bonus dice, you were talking about the Devil's Bargain.
No.
-1 for injuries.
Yeah, that's true. 1 -1 for. Well, no, because this. I don't think any of his injuries really would affect this.
Okay, does not apply. Never mind.
Yeah. Those would apply for like.
Physical stuff. By the way,
Yeah.
6. Yay.
Oh
Took us
boy,
long enough.
that's enough.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Okay,
More or less.
so that is an XP for the desperate roll. All right, so a 6, full success. Yeah. So before anything else happens, your hacking rig helps get control back of these turrets, and helps get back into the system. However, its shield completely fails, and it is assaulted by blaster fire. You hear its last dying beeps as they echo through your damaged suit.
There's a single small star-infused tear
Alright.
that leaks out of the suit as you just hear Kron say, "Rest in peace, you beautiful bastard."
Alright. Yeah, that happens, but yeah, you definitely get control. Gummy bears, man, they're the best. You definitely get control of the turrets, and I would say that you still have a pretty serious line back into the system, and you would be able to utilize that to your effect.
I'm going to attempt to use all of the turrets I can get a hold of to just open fire on the hegemony.
Oh yeah?
Or the ship itself. I'm basically gonna force it into self-destruct mode.
You can try and make another hack roll, and set the self-destruct of the ship if you'd like.
Yeah, but that doesn't really make it so I clear off and make it so I can get to them. I guess I could just shoot people for now.
Okay.
Self-destruct would cause quite a panic, but I don't know if that would.
Be enough to get them to stop dealing with us.
Because the thing I would think is they would run for the escape pods, basically. Although I don't know how dedicated these guys are. And you seem pretty dedicated, but I don't know if that dedicated. For now, keep shooting.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep shooting. The other thing I thought of, take over the or activate the broadcast system and be like, "Attention, assholes!
And what
I
we
have."
Stuck.
I'm gonna threaten the self-destruct.
Alright, that might be a decent idea.
well, you could do
Alright,
that.
so
That would probably be a command.
yeah, so let me give you everything that's about to go down here.
Okay.
So there's a really like the entire system turns on for a second. There's like a cough, and Karn like taps the his headset to double check that it's working. Ah, yes. Attention, hegemony assholes. This is the man in charge of your computer right now speaking. I am going to give you a chance to not piss me off. You're going to let me and my friends leave, or I'm going to blow this ship to holy hell. So, one large mutant, one has-been doctor, or I blow the ship and everyone on it.
All right. That definitely sounds like a command. Like you're commanding them with your force of personality. So, um, why don't you go ahead and give me a command? I'll give you a bonus die for the hack of the system, because you probably have, like, they probably realize that you have potential access to that. They're still fighting you, but I imagine as someone who's experienced with technology and such, that's not too much of something to ask to expect you to fight that off while saying all this. So, yeah, I'll give you a bonus die for your control over the system. I think that's all I'm going to be able to give you, though. I think this is going to be a risky, and I think this is going to be a great.
Okay, cool. And bonus die. Can't push myself, so let's just do it.
4. Okay. All right. I think what happens is that you say this, and then right afterwards, there is a small pause in the combat as everybody kind of figures what's going on, and when they stop fighting the turrets, do you stop firing?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, there's a single moment of like silence, and I think what happens is this is going to be from your perspective, Karn. What happens is that one of them yells, "We have that doctor! We're coming out! Don't shoot, or you'll kill her first!"
Over the loudspeakers again. Any funny business, and it's sky high for all ya.
Yeah, as you kind of look through one of the viewports of the, probably the main viewport of the shuttle, you see Audra being kind of pushed out. She's got a couple of guys with guns behind her. The two guys that were fighting the turrets earlier are still in the doorway, but these are a couple other guys. They seem to be pushing her out, and they say,
"You can have the doctor, but Bon Riot Balgon is staying with us."
I'm going to flip the switch.
okay, that would be a hack roll. That is going to be desperate because it's pretty hard to get to. But the effect is also going to be great because that'll probably freak everyone out.
You just don't get a 1 and immediately blow the ship.
Oh god, that makes me think of another game I was in. Bullet games a week. Alright. We don't have any gambits, do we?
Not currently, no.
Did we use the one for your attune roll?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
used it for his last hack roll.
Right. Alright.
Can I get an assist from Tashir?
I don't think NPCs can necessarily assist you to give you stuff like that. Let me take a look here. Yeah, because
Either way.
she would have to take a stress to assist you, and that's not something that she's capable of doing.
Yeah. NPCs can't take stress. That's the player feeling. That's what gives them the...
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that you could... I would say that you have found a way that you would be able to set the self-destruct, but you would only have like 20 seconds on the clock.
To turn it back off again.
You would only have 20 seconds on the clock to turn it back off again, or else this ship is literally going to destroy itself.
I'll just...
And I would give you a die for that, but that would be the consequence there. Which means you guys, no matter what, you'd have to hurry your fucking asses up to get off that ship, or else...
Yeah, but Bond's unconscious, so we can't do that. So I'm
Sure.
just gonna...
Okay. Ooh, boy. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say that you're not really able to do that. And I'm also going to say that while you're doing that, it's taking up all of your time and concentration just to do that. And you're not really having a whole lot of success with it. And while you're doing that, since your hacking rig is no more, you don't really have... It's not that you don't have control over the turrets, you're not really firing with them. And they kind of look around and realize this as the turrets kind of tilt limply forward. And the soldiers who were fighting them earlier kind of shout and yell indistinguishably to the others, and you hear a bunch of blaster fire starting to reflect off of the turrets that you were so desperately trying to defend yourself with. And as the alarm blares throughout the ship, you see small explosions kind of happening near the ship, little bits of shrapnel hitting lifelessly against the shuttle. And the turrets are destroyed, no longer providing any measure of defense against the approaching soldiers who are now rushing past Audra, one of them bashing over the head and trying to get her to lay down or get on her knees, the others trying to approach you.
Alright, I'm just gonna attempt harder to get in and blow this place up.
Okay. It's still going to be pretty much the same roll. It's going to be desperate. The effect is going to be great. Good luck.
Okay.
There you go. Much better, much better.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure to mark XP for both of those last rolls.
Yeah. What happens when insight is full?
Then you're able to nix all of it and take a pip in your insight up to a maximum of 3. So you could put one in your hack and max that out to 3 if that's what you want to do.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So now you'll have 3 dice available to you anytime you make a hack roll. Cool. So our first level up there. Awesome. Excelente.
Because I am doing so much stuff today.
Indeed. Okay.
Where do I mark gambits?
That would be on the ship.
Right. Where on the ship?
So if you pull up the ship page here, the Fire Drake, and then you go it's credit.
There we go. Okay. We have marked it.
You would not have a gambit on a desperate roll. It's only on risky rolls that you get a 6 or more on.
Oh, okay. My bad.
It's all good. Yeah, the gambits, risky actions are the mainstay of the space opera, and risks that pay off, 6 or critical, generate gambits, but only if you didn't spend a gambit on the roll in the first place.
Alright. Alright. Not a problem. I just thought that with the desperate roll it did the same thing.
No. Desperate rolls generate XP. Because you don't want to be in a desperate roll position and have things go wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. All of a sudden, how long do you set it for?
30 seconds.
30 seconds? Okay.
No. A minute.
Give me a final answer on that.
A minute.
Okay. Yeah. So, all of a sudden, everyone hears on the loudspeaker, warning, self-destruct system activated. T-minus 57 seconds. And there are big red and yellow lights that turn on all over the ship, just flashing red and yellow, warning everyone about what's going on aboard this vessel. So let's go ahead and start a clock on that.
I said both of them. And no funny business.
Okay. So it's a minute. So let's make that. Let's make that an 8. Make an 8 section clock here. Okay, and then first section. Go. Beautiful. And then I will name this self-destruct clock of the Forsaken. Cool. There we go. All right. Now, got that going on. And you said both of them no funny business?
Yep.
Okay. I think that happens. And you're generally trying to create a sense of panic and chaos here, correct?
Oh god, yeah.
Okay. You do hear the voice, but it's not nearly as strong. You barely recognize it. But it's there, just in the back of your head.
A little busy now.
Yep. In addition, a couple of guys come up to the back of the shuttle. I imagine you're like in the front, using the shuttle's computer and stuff to hack into it, their ship. They approach the back of the shuttle, and they both like scream at you. Get down! Down on the ground now!
What's that? Make it 10 seconds?
That sounds like a command or a sway. I think it sounds probably more like a command to me. Cause sway someone with your charm, logic, deception. I'm sorry, what?
You just back up and give me what I want, or we're all dead. And I'm sure you don't want that. Well, you're dead and I'm gone. You have until the countdown reaches 20 to give me what I want, or you're all gone, and I'm not stopping.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and give me a command. I think it sounds like the most appropriate here, because you're commanding obedience with your force of personality, intimidating or threatening. I think you're definitely threatening.
Yeah.
So that sounds like that. I would say that you get a bonus die for this because of the impending threat, the impending obvious threat of the self-destruct of the ship. Too sure doesn't really say anything during this time, but
Risky, controlled, desperate.
I'm going to say this is risky with a standard effect.
All right. Cool. I'm gone.
All right. What do you mean by gone? Are you just like booking it?
Yeah, if Needles can make it to the thing.
I'm not entirely sure she can. However, these guys. I think the only thing that really makes sense to me is that Uh, they come into the shuttle a bit further, and guy like rushes in and tries to pin you against the console. And I think with the barrel of his gun pressed into your back, he's gonna say, "Fix it! Turn it off! Turn it off now!"
Karn's just gonna laugh and be like, I guess we're all dying then.
And he just has this totally like perplexed, bewildered look on his face, and he nods over to his buddy here and says, "You get on the console now! Turn it off!" And
Karn is going to pull out his shoulder-mounted blaster and put it right at the. It's gonna like turn 360 or 180 and face him and be like, I don't think you really want to do that.
are you facing the guy who's trying to turn off the self-destruct, or the guy who has the gun pointed at you?
The self-destruct.
Okay.
It's a Mexican standoff.
Okay. That
Thunder,
sounds.
do you have any input at this point?
I just want you to remind them this is entirely their fault.
It is. It really is. They could just give me Bond and life would be good, and instead we're all just gonna die. Shortest campaign ever.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead and give me a command roll again. Another bonus die. This
I'm
is gonna
crazy.
be desperate, and effect is going to be standard.
All ones. Come on. Close enough.
Stop trying to jinx it, man.
Yeah, you really are fucking off on things, Riot.
Hey, at least I was wrong.
I guess you were. I mean, it is a partial success.
Yeah, so...
Let me hit my vape. I need some ideas.
Dear God, no. You don't need any more ideas.
I could do with some more ideas.
So I'm in a Dungeon Worlds campaign. Speaking of him hitting the vape, and we actually have a BOD.
A big old dick.
No,
Ooh.
the Bong of Destiny.
Oh.
Doesn't matter, I can do that.
No. Yeah,
It's-
not where I was. Not where I thought you were going with that at all.
No, Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. They end up breaking off the Devil's Horn, and they turn it into a bong. So we have a item that is basically a bong that when you hit a certain type of drug out of it, you get to ask questions about the universe. But if you fail, you die.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds lit. Okay.
No.
Yep. Yeah, I think. See, my brain automatically goes to like D&D type things where it's like they want something right here, right now, to be guaranteed to them or given to them in order to seal the deal. I think. Okay. Okay. I know what it is. The guy who is trying to disable the auto-destruct definitely stops. He stops dead, and his eyes just kind of like pan through his eye sockets into the large weapon that's being pointed at him, and the guy behind you is like, shit, 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 shit. And over the loudspeakers, you guys hear T minus 30 seconds. And he's like, shit. Fine, fine, we'll bring him to you. But. And he kind of like looks over you, and all of a sudden, your little buddy looks at him, and he's like, we want the Urbot. We can't go away empty-handed. No way. You hand that over. We'll bring him to you. Just shut it off.
You're wasting valuable time.
Yeah, but you're asleep. You're dreaming of space and autumn, winter. Karna, you might be muted, buddy.
He is.
My bad. So when you say little buddy, are you talking about Tashur or are you talking about the drone? Because Karn will give over the drone.
Yeah, he's talking about your little drone buddy.
Yeah, okay. I love the fact that nobody actually knew what the Urbot looked like, so everybody is just assuming it's this actual robot. So Karn is like, worked so hard to get it. You drive a hard bargain. And he hands the drone to the dude. And stops.
Yeah, the drone like reaches out with its tentacles and hands and tries to grab at you, but the guy just holds on to it, and he drops. You feel him drop his rifle away from you, and he says, "All right, fine. I'll grab them. Just turn it off now." T minus 20 seconds.
Alright, now let's see if I
Hurry.
can.
Come on. Chop chop, off my ship. Let's go. I'm gonna need a little more face from you than that. Let's go, come on, move it.
Yeah, he
Knees to chest. Knees to chest.
he starts moving off. The other guy gets commanded to move off as well, and they like grab Audra by the hair and grab Bon. Probably a couple of guys grab Bon, and they just chuck him into your ship. Do you turn it off?
I fly away.
Okay. That's going to require...
I know, pilot.
well, first of all, T minus 15, and it's going to require you to destroy a hangar door.
I can't hack it open.
You could try that if you want
I would like to try that.
to. Okay.
Desperate else.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be desperately... That's just... English. That's going to be desperate, and I think great effect.
I
Alright.
also like the fact that they're going to be looking at you and thinking, okay, good, he's trying to make it off.
No, they're just going to... I mean, the lights are still going to be going off. He's just going to, like, fucking open the hangar door, blast out of there, I imagine, while the ship is, like, tearing itself apart. The warp core is just exploding.
Yep.
It's already in, like, too many pieces to count at this point, so what's a bit more surface damage?
Alright. Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm gonna submit it then, because I can't think, we don't have a thing right now. I don't have anything else to do to it. So yeah.
I think any Devil's Bargain I'd get you would be pretty fatal, but that's pretty lucky. Pretty lucky. Mark an XP.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh god.
That's pretty cool. All right, so yeah, you get it open. Why don't you describe what happens?
So Karn closes the thing, and as it's slowly closing, the door in front of him opens, and he just kind of gives them a little like salute as the thing closes. I'm assuming on very stunned faces because I think they realize that I'm not shutting it off. And the ship starts to blow even as I'm heading forward through the door. And just as we're about to like leave, there's a blast that kind of goes behind us and shoves our ship forward a bit.
All right, yeah. Yeah, that definitely happens. You see a bunch of them kind of like trying to fire on your ship. Some of them are like smashing on the windshield, trying to get you to turn it off. And then all of a sudden, uh, yeah, all of a sudden, there's just explosions, and much like the Millennium Falcon escaping from the exploding Death Star, or whatever, we just see the hangar door starting to close, and then it just getting blown off as the ship explodes. We see the Liberated flying past towards the right as the hangar door spins and spins, and the screen cuts to black as the Forsaken is destroyed.
I think that cements our ambitious title at the very least.
I would say
I
so.
think that solidifies my reckless trauma.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
It also solidifies a -1 with the so what's it called?
Yeah.
The
Church of the Flame. Whoopsie.
Yeah.
Probably also is another tick on the clock. That is.
I don't think it is.
Maybe. Who knows?
They might assume we're dead.
Yeah, it's fair.
There's no way they escaped the explosion.
No way at all.
Alright. So those are gone. The Stellar Flame vessel is destroyed. And you guys just book out of there. Why don't we go ahead and close out here. Reason being is that our intrepid doctor does have some real life things to take care of, so I don't want to go too far without her being around to experience what's going on and having fun along with the rest of us. So let's go ahead and do that. That was a desperate, so no gambit for that. You guys still haven't completed the job yet, so no XP quite yet for that. I guess it would be at the end of each session here for playbook advancement.
But we can do that sort of next session, I think, because again, Aaron isn't here, and we kind of.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll do it with you guys, and then I'll just let her know what's going on afterwards. So that means a couple of sessions I've skipped over, and I still need to do it for this session as well. So my apologies there. I'll go ahead and do that. So, okay. We'll do it for the second session, the third session, and this session, the fourth one.
So that just are we just gonna count everything as happening in one session, or are we gonna go through each session individually?
I was gonna go through each session individually, but what was the other option? Why don't you describe that to me?
I was gonna say count everything as if it was in one session. So this has a special caveat where if something happens more than once, you count it as 2 XP instead of 1 XP. So that means that's likely a lot more likely to happen, and we would just count everything that happened while on the ship as though it happened in one session, right?
I could see that, but here's my thing: is that like the first session was really just you guys getting out of Isotropa. Plus, it
Yeah,
was
we
really
did.
character creation. Um, so it'll just be the start of this mission, what you guys did, and
Yeah.
how you guys got off of
We
the
did
Forsaken.
XP for the extra thing.
So I'll just do it for each session because that's what it says here. I screwed up royally, so I apologize. Okay, so let's start with you, Gizmo.
Hey.
All right, when you guys were finding a spot to hide on Baphtoma, the Husk, and when you guys got into combat and everything with the Stellar Flame guys, this is for that session. Have you addressed a tough challenge with technical skill or ingenuity in that situation?
I hacked into the turrets.
I think
In
that was
that
I think that was the second session, or the third one. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're right. Because that one I kind of just sprinted in, and we ended with me getting through the door.
Yeah.
Um, I don't.
I don't think so.
No.
But that's okay. Um, during that session, did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
Yes. At one point during it, somebody made a comment about the technology, and I was like, "No, this is art."
Okay.
I think it was Needles kind of being like, "Hey, just fix it." I'm like, "No, I need to appreciate this."
Okay. I'll go ahead and I'll give you 1 XP for that, for your playbook advancement. Or wherever you want to put it, really. Did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session? During that particular session? I don't
No.
think you
Prerequisite,
did.
prerequisite.
Yeah.
That's where I got my trauma. So no.
Okay. All right. The second session. This is the last one that we were on. That is when you got inside, started hacking things in that central room, and then started crawling through the vents to find Tashur. I think you also threatened a guy and did a bit of fighting, and that's also where you got your trauma. So, did you?
No, I got my trauma as I booked it into the
From the hangar?
from the hangar. I got shot, and it put me over my stress limit
Okay.
right at the end of that session.
Okay. Well, then last session, did you address a tough challenge with technical skill or ingenuity?
That's when I took over the ships with my hacking.
Okay. I think I can give you 2 for that because you did an awful lot of hacking in that game. I think there are a couple of tough challenges because I think the
Yeah.
key word here is that they're tough challenges rather than just going along. So, but I think that counts. So I'll
Well,
give you 2 for that.
We were outgunned, outmanned, and I was about to get caught.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I don't think so much.
Okay.
Maybe a little at the end with Tashur showing up. He was definitely like, "Oh, hey, this is kind of amazing,"
Mm,
but not really. I
Yeah,
don't think I did.
I don't think you really role-played that out that much. Um, okay, we'll just skip over that one for now. You struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session.
I think he was a little reckless.
I think he
th-
was a bit, yeah.
he killed two guys, um, threatened another, and crawled through the vents.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and give you one for that. Keep in mind you can put the XP that I'm giving you anywhere.
Oh, okay.
So any of the ones that you get below the playbook advancement, you can put them into your playbook advancement, or you can put them into your attributes here.
Okay.
Okay. And then this session, the one we just played, did you address a tough challenge with technical skill or ingenuity? I'm automatically going to give you a 2 on that, because that was insane.
I don't know how I survived. I have almost full harm, 1 stress left. I don't know how I survived because I was like the entire session that I was like that. I didn't take a single stress this session, which is good because I'd have to take another trauma, but I took a lot of harm.
Yeah, I mean, it's being a fucking space criminal's hard business, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 for that. So it looks like you upgraded your attune.
Yep.
Okay, cool. 1 sec. Alright, so next question, of course, is you expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
Karn believes that luck favors the bold.
So he does.
Yes. I think he was a little bold today.
Okay. Riot, what would you say to that? Thunder, you are muted, by the way.
So I am. Hold on.
Okay.
Right. So we're doing first session. We get on the ship.
Well, we're just talking about this session we just finished playing right now.
Okay.
So do you think that he expressed... Do you think that Gizmo expressed his beliefs, drives, heritage, or background this session?
I was kind
I
of
think he expressed his heritage and definitely a belief. Being from the Ghost, having a way with technology, and being a bit of a... I think, aren't the Ghosts kind of like... Not like tricksters, but they are sort of... They're good with subterfuge in that way, and I think that definitely came into play. Plus, the belief was always there, and I don't know about drive, just because I don't know much about the drive, but definitely those 2.
Okay. Alright. I can definitely see giving you at least 1 for that.
Cool.
Alright. You struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session.
I almost blew us all up.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely give you a at least a 1 for that.
I also attempted to tear open the fabric of space and time because I was like, maybe this guy can help.
That's also true. I'll go ahead and give you a 2 for that. Excuse me. All right. Cool. So that is you done. On to Mr. Riot. So, going back to the second session, this is where you guys were on the Husk, and then came over to the Stellar Flame vessel, the Forsaken, and started fighting with guys there. Um, so did you address a tough challenge with force or threats?
Eh, challenge was they weren't letting us in. I did a remedy that, I suppose.
Yeah, I would say so. That's definitely some force. Um, go ahead and take a 1 on that.
Put that in prowess, because we still need to pilot.
Okay. You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
I like to think... drive and, I would say, background. Being that sort of cross-border sentient smuggler, it was my job to get in and out of places, or in and through places. Granted, I suppose how do I say this? I think I knew when the deal was going bad, and decided to just give it a little push. But that's entirely your interpretation.
I'm sorry. The last part of that, you're deciding to give what a little push?
Give the situation a little push. The thought being, with the background, I know when a deal is going bad. I know when an operation is going bad, when things aren't going as planned, and decided to take matters into my own hands, so to speak.
What do you think, Gizmo?
He definitely was very brutish. If I remember correctly, he was the only one of us doing well at that time.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I think at least one.
Okay. All right, yeah. I'll go ahead and give you 1 for that.
Alright, and then vice traumas and all that didn't have it.
Yeah. Okay. Next session. This is the last one before today that we played. Did you address a tough challenge with force or threats? I think I can automatically give you a 2 on that, because I think you did that several times last session.
Gotcha. Hey guys, you have a pilot. At least kind of. A little bit.
Kinda. All right. Next is you expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
I'm thinking in that session, it was honestly just trying to survive. The operation was basically lost, and I don't think there was a lot for me to do. Although I will say, with the Staith Outlander, the sort of warrior culture and all that, the explorers, the sort of rural characters, that plus the beliefs and drives and being with the crew, I think there is something to say for the fact that Bond literally pushed himself to almost death because people were threatening his teammates. Like, he wouldn't have gone out into the hallway if it was just him in that room. You know what I mean?
Okay. So was that a belief, drive, background, or heritage that you expressed in that?
I would say it's a heritage, maybe a bit of a belief, but that's
Okay.
it's loose a little bit. But yeah.
Okay. I'll give you 1 on that. And then the last one there is you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. I think you gained 1, so I think we'll go ahead and give you 1.
Alright. And then for this session, I don't think I didn't do much, but I did definitely struggle with issues from my dramas.
Yeah, so we'll definitely give you 1 for that. Actually, I'll give you 2 for that because you're pretty much out this session entirely.
Yeah, alright, cool. That's it.
All right, and then yeah, that's this session, and then that's you done pretty much. And then the ship stuff, which I mistakenly thought was each player's stuff, gets ended at the end of the job. So once the job is done, that's when the ship gets XP, you guys get cred, all that stuff.
Yeah. No, the Fire Drake still says the end of each session.
Does it? Okay, let me look. I
It's
could
just
be mistaken
the
about this.
One of the things, the things you can get experience for is completing a job.
Okay. At the end of each session, for each item below, mark 1 XP or 2, blah blah blah. Okay, execute a successful job that opposes hegemonic dominance. Yeah, you guys haven't quite done that yet, because I'm not going to count session.
However, contended with challenges above your current station. That's something we did basically every session in a very extreme way.
I think you guys definitely did it with this session. I'll give you 1 XP for that, for this. Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. Yeah, you guys definitely did that. So I'll give you 1 for that. Express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. I think you guys did that in the 2 sessions ago when you were fucking with Mark and all that. So I'll give you 1 for that.
All right.
I think that's about all I can really think of, though, for those.
Cool.
All right. Now that that's all done, sorry I didn't get to those before. I thought it was all at the end of the job, not end of the session. But I guess it makes more sense if it's the end of the session here.
Yeah.
So,
that's cool.
yeah, that's cool. All right, so I think that's about it. We're going to go ahead and close out here. Riot, why don't you go ahead and give us some shoutros here for you?
All right. My name's Thunder, and you can find me on Twitter at DMThunder. It's DMTHUNDR64. Forgot about the last part. Anyways, point being, I do a Tuesday game that I run, and I don't stream it myself, but somebody who plays streams it because I think it's a bit more fun that way. Just seeing the player perspective being in with the characters and all that, and it's pretty fun. Right now, they are currently in the middle of a battle. Basically, they decided that, you know what we should do after pissing off this elemental-controlled fortress city that has been shown to be overwhelmingly powerful and sends out elder elementals as normal guards. Let's just camp 500 feet away from it in the night. So, feel free to see the epic conclusion to that next week. We are not having the cameraman here today, this session, but you know, we'll get it done. Now then, that is me. But Aaron, or the let's see, Audra Needles Clarity is also a person who does the Twitters and all that, and you can follow her at Kodabuck on Twitter. And if you want to see her adorable Shibas, you can follow her on Instagram at Shiba on Fleek.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. All right. And then, last but not least, Gizmo, why don't you give yourself some shout-outs here?
I'd like to thank the Academy for getting me through that. Anyway, my name is Mad Titan Chronos. You can find me 2 separate places on Twitter, one being Mad Titan Chronos, and the other being the Nerds Tavern, which is just at the Nerds Tavern. There's no apostrophe in that username. I'm going to be, as in I'm not yet, I'm going to be running a 5e game every Saturday from 5 Eastern to 10 Eastern. And I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. It's coming up this Saturday.
I know reason to be nervous, man. I'm sure it'll turn out completely fine for you. One last thing I would like to add onto Gizmo's thing. We are having discussions about another game of Open Legend that might be getting streamed here. So me and him will be players in that game, and we'll kind of see where it goes. We're not entirely sure what's going to happen with it, if we're going to do it or not, but in discussions. So something to look forward to and kind of wet your whistles and weenies with. As for my side, hi, I'm Sean, also known as Mr. Sean Anigans, also known as The Outsider, also known as Ultra Lazuli, as you can see here on my twitch.tv page. I DM a bunch of games. I play a bunch of video games. Primarily right now, I am creating a brand new tabletop role-playing game system called Synthesis. I've been putting in a lot of work on it lately, getting things done, getting things put together. It is an entirely D6 system, but it is additive. So if you're used to games like Dungeon World, Apocalypse World, it's kind of similar to that, but not quite. All the details and everything that I have available to the public are on that page, and you can go to patreon.com/synthesize, SYNTHESIZE, in order to check out what's going on with that and become a Patreon. Help support me. Help support your local tabletop RPG creator. Aside from that, you can catch this game, of course, every Monday from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. generally, unless something happens with one of our players, like happened tonight, where we'll be playing more Scum and Villainy, and we'll see what happens with the rest of these guys next session. So make sure you guys tune in. You can, of course, pick up the game Scum and Villainy by Straws and John LaBeouf Little at evilhat.com/home/scum and villainy. It's a great game if you're used to Blades in the Dark. It's almost a carbon copy of that, just put into a sci-fi world rather than like a Victorian England Dishonored kind of world. It's great fun, and I recommend it to anybody who's interested in tabletop RPGs, and I hope you guys pick it up. It's pretty inexpensive too. I guess it's $35 now from where it was, but still, this is everything that you need. You don't need any other papers or any other books or anything. It has adventures, everything set up for you already, and there's even, as you can tell here, you can look at the sheet. There's a full-on Roll20 sheet for it. Things are still being developed for Roll20 play, so definitely get into that. And other than that, I'm pretty much done. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, wonderful start to your week with this, and thank you for tuning in. This has been Mr. Sean Anigan, Social Lazuli, signing off. Over and out.